Right. Good afternoon. How you doing?
All right. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. Uh, what's going on? What you come in today for?
Well, I just have been experiencing a lot of anxiety and just depression. I just trouble sleeping at night, just kind of always cranky. I just kind of all over the place, honestly.
Oh, goodness. I'm sorry to hear that. What's been going on to cause that?
I think it's related to starting the college program that I started a few months ago, because that's kind of after I started that, and that's when I started noticing the increase in symptoms. And I think it's just the demands of what I'm going through with the coursework and the program and the assignments and juggling life in general, that it's just kind of really has me, you know, just down.
Hmm. Well, sounds like going through some pretty tough time here. I mean, looking at your time of your life, what kind of sacrifices have you had to make for the program?
Well, my kids, kind of get suffered a little bit from the lack of attention that I can give them. I can't spend as much time with them as
Sure.
I had before I started. So that kind of, gets me down. And then, my husband too isn't able to, we're not able to spend a lot of time together either. So just kind of my normal routine has been thrown up the air and altered. And, I'm just kind of all over everywhere.
Yeah, kind of sounds like a lot of family times had been put on hold or something
Hmm.
with it. And family can be very important. And
Right. And they are. And they're trying to be supportive, but
yeah,
it's just difficult when they want to go do something or they need me to bring them somewhere and I can't because I have homework to do. And and then that gets them down, which gets me down even more. And it just is kind of like that circle that just never really wants to end.
hmm, goodness. How old are your kids?
They're 13 and 15, so they are kind of older and able to fend more for themselves, which is good. But in general, it just sometimes they need their mom and they need their mom
Sure.
there, you know.
And like you said, spend with your kids and your husband,
Hmm.
and then trying to balance the school in there, and you got a lot of pressure going on. And
Right.
a lot of times you see this anxiety and depression can result from that because a lot of times we neglect to take care of ourselves a lot of times. And we see these things. I don't know about some people going through here, they begin to bottle things up
Hmm.
and we begin to bottle it up. And it's like, well, which way do I go? Where do I, how do I act? What do I do? And then school getting tougher. It's like,
Right.
man, I wasn't expecting this.
Mm.
And one of the things, why did you start school? What was your big intention for starting school?
Well, I mean, I think overall my intention was to, one, further my education and be a role model for my kid, or my kids, sorry, but also, to be able to kind of work less and enjoy life more.
Sure. I think one of the things we look at a lot of times is that you wanted to be a role model for your kids.
Hmm.
And especially going through here and you seeing schools getting tougher, sometimes we can look at it, well, I don't want to fail in front of them.
Right.
And we see these courseworks and it's like, well, putting that, looking at yourself and putting that pressure on you a lot of times, well, it's like, man, I feel like I'm failing in front of them. And it can just even increase this anxiety. He's talking about anxiety, depression even more.
Hmm.
Where do you see yourself in the future?
Um, I see myself, just being able to enjoy life and not really having to think about, can I afford that, or, you know, do I have time for that? Just being able to, if we want to go on a vacation, being able to go and not have to worry about money, or, obviously vacation time with work and stuff. But, I want to be able to work less and enjoy life more.
Yeah. And that you'll be able to get to spend more time with your kids, with your husband. Then eventually, when you have grandkids, be able to spend a lot more time with them. And you
Right.
see this over a long goal. I think one of the things that we get to look at a lot of times, or we fail to stop looking at, is that end goal that we started in mind.
Yeah.
Um, is there something that you can hold on to that you can say, hey, this is the reason why I started. I can go back, whether it be your kids, whether it be your husband. And like I said, that time is very important.
Right.
One of the things we look at is through the process of getting this is how do I get there?
Mm-hmm.
One of the things we have to look back and remember why we started. I know it's helped me in the past is I look back at my kids and say, hey, this is why I did this. And
Right.
a lot of times there are sacrifices that are made, and those
Mm-hmm.
sacrifices can be tough.
Right.
And
Yep.
what other part of your life has been affected? I mean, how are you sleeping at night now?
Not very good because my mind runs about the homework and the upcoming exams that I have, and and then I that kind of gets me even more down, and then I think about the kids and the lack of time that I get to spend with them and my husband, and
Hmm?
so kind of overall it just is like this downward spiral of, is this really all worth it in the end? But if I fail, then what kind of, you know, what kind of role model am I for my kids? And, I just don't want to be embarrassed if I were to just give everything up either,
Yeah.
but there's definitely a struggle to want to continue and want to, progress in this when I can just go to work and come home and enjoy life with them instead of having to sit in front of a computer to do schoolwork all night long every day.
And I think one of the big things that people don't take care of is themselves a lot. And the first thing is getting quality sleep.
Mm,
We talk about sleep quite a bit with a big problem. We want to look at quality sleep, not quantity of sleep.
yeah.
But so many times we look at these things, where does this, I mean, sleep affects our attitude, sleep affects our health. And if we're
Hmm.
not getting those good things, and like I said, when you lay down at night, you're constantly worrying about things, worrying about school, worrying about your family, so we're not getting that sleep that we should.
Right.
And it's going to affect us. Also, you said, boy, this thing just keeps circling, getting worse, and then you see it just repeating over and over. One of
Hmm.
the things we have to do is step in, and I'd like to say there's a easy peasy answer
Right.
that boy we can get it all said and done quick.
Hmm.
But no, there's things where it's going to take time to kind of figure these out. But what are some things? I think one of the big things going through here that can help time management. Have you thought about
Hmm.
anything like that?
Not a whole lot. I mean, I sometimes I just find it to be very overwhelming, and I don't know where to begin and how to begin, which then I procrastinate even
Mm,
more because I'm just overwhelmed with the amount of stuff to do that I just can't really focus on, where do I start? That
yeah.
type of thing.
One of the things I would keep in mind to try this is set aside time. Hey, this is going to be time specifically for my family.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think being able to hold on to that can be like a golden nugget you can hold on to, saying, hey, this is why I started. And getting to
Right.
spend time with them, say, hey, this is why I'm doing it. This is the reason I'm getting to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Good idea.
in just a couple years, you'll be done. You'll be saying, hey, that's what I held on to. And y'all's the reason why.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think sometimes it'll even give you hopefully more focus to keep going through this. And
Right.
it won't seem as a daunting task to get through.
Yep. That's very good point right there.
One of the things we look at also is, I mean, being able to talk with someone about it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, don't be afraid to talk to somebody because sometimes, like I said, we don't like to talk. I know sometimes like pride can get in the way a lot of times. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
and we fail to ask for help a lot of times. And we see this downward spiraling effect because we're not asking for help. Um, we see this, we're going to need help. And
Mhm.
so just don't ever be afraid to ask. Find somebody you can talk to. Another thing, some people kind of lean toward medications, others don't. Would you be willing to look at any kind of medications to help with your anxiety or
Uh,
sleep?
I don't know. I haven't really thought of it much. I don't like to take a whole lot of things. So,
Sure.
I mean, I maybe if there's, if this, like if I like maybe try some of the things that you recommended today, like the time management and setting that time for my kids and my husband and my family, and maybe if things don't get better in the future, I'd be maybe open to it.
Okay.
But I don't know how I really feel right now on it.
Sure. Understandable completely. So, so this week, let's try those. Try the time management and the quality time with your kids, and see how your sleep goes for that, and see how your anxiety goes after you kind of gone through that. See if it helps any. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Um, is there anything else I can do for you today? Anything we need to?
No, I don't think so. I think, you've helped me a lot to kind of understand, you know, or to kind of prioritize and try to figure out, you know, how I can make things a little bit better by using the time management, but also to kind of keep that eyesight of why I started this. And, what you made a good point is that sometimes we forget to look at the reason why we started in the first place, and we fail to look at that. And I think that's a good point that we need to kind of always keep in mind, why we started what we started, so that we, what that end goal would be by us starting. And that kind of helps to remember that and say, yeah, I understand that this may be difficult and I'm struggling right now, but this is why I did it.
Yeah.
And that, helps a little bit to kind of remember that.
Well, just keep these things in mind, and we'll talk again next week. And if you need anything in between there, just give me a holler. Okay.
I will do. Thank you so much.
Alrighty. Thanks.
All right.
Bye.
Bye bye.